Okay, so today we're going to discuss the structure of a contract and the basics of solidity. And let's get started. So, let me bring this. The structure of a contract. I don't know why I'm seeing this now. Anyway, there we go. Okay, so if you are an object-oriented programmer, if you are familiar with Java, C++, Python, then this will be very familiar to you. Of course, you have your state variables, essentially your static variables. You have now this tells you what version of Solidity to be compiled for. You have your methods, so you define the function, and this is actually a helper, so it is defined outside of the contract. The first interesting thing here, we got what's called function modifiers. Now, they let you amend, as it says here, amend the meaning of the function, semantics, in a declarative way, and they can be overridden. So let's have a look at them. Now, you can't overload, so you can't define another version of a modifier with different parameters. But let's have a look at them. So anyway, they're often used, like this is a case. The protects against making sure that only the owner could execute this. So it has a require, and then it has this symbol. It means that if the owner calls the function, it's executed. Otherwise, it throws an exception. And you can modify it, or you can overload them. Now, as I mentioned, Solidity has multiple inheritance, which is not in Java, which leads to issues that have to be resolved, and they have ways of doing it. They define it. They discuss it in here. I forget the exact term, but basically define how it orders overriding functions so that you can, if you do not mark a function that overrides its virtual domain. Okay, so you got contract A and contract B here, and back down here you got the base. You inherit it. You have base 1 and base 2, and then you can override it. You can inherit base 1, base 2, you can override it. And that will, allow you to have your own version of foo in the inherited contract. So, let's get back here to where we were. To the structure. So we talked about modifiers. Now events are convenient. This essentially allows you to take advantage of logging. You've got your structs, which are in pretty much all the languages, enums, all the common things that you would expect. And let's have a look at that in our contract from last night, the ballot contract. So as you can see here, we define a struct for the voter, a struct for the proposal, and we have a chairperson that's a type address, a proposal array, proposals that's type proposal arrays, voters that is a mapping of an address to a type voter, which is defined up here. And then you have your constructor. Now in this case you only have one constructor, and that goes and sets everything up. It takes the proposal names, it sets the chairperson as the message sender, and it has some other methods: the right to vote, delegate, let's see, we've got vote and winning proposal and winner name. So we have all the methods here. This is a relatively simple. There's no inheritance or anything complex in that regard. It does not use modifiers, but this is a good example of a basic Solidity contract that's a bit more involved than Flipper. But again, if you are familiar with Java, Python, C++, as a Java programmer, the things that I'm going to have to look a bit more into is the way they handle multiple inheritance, because in Java they just don't allow it, which avoids the issues where you can get confusion between methods that are inherited from different classes. So if you have foo inherited from class A and foo inherited from class B, it's like, well, which foo do I use, or what order do I execute them? So that's not an issue in Java, but in languages that do support multiple inheritance, you do have to be concerned about that. And of course they have their methods of handling that. So hopefully this has been helpful and gives you the idea that this is not scary. This is, if you're a Java programmer, C++ programmer, you're just writing classes. That's it. You know, that's what you're doing. So anyway, hopefully you found this helpful, and if so, please give it a like and ring the bell and subscribe so that you hear when we put more stuff on the channel. And I will speak to you next time.